Hey, we're back with another video. Another day we're going to be reacting to Van Lathan, to Scott Jennings. Y'all got to bench Elon Musk. Why do we have to bench Elon Musk? We're going to figure it out right now. Subscribe, you turn on them post notifications, you smash that like button, you get this video, get us 100 likes. Let's just do 100 likes, y'all. Can y'all do that for me? Stop the hate for a second and just like the video. Anyways, let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Yeah, y'all gotta bench Elon, man.
Uh-oh.
Y'all gonna have to bench.
He came in shooting. Y'all gotta bench Elon. He came in shooting.
Elon is not going to be long for this world as a major American political figure. I watched his interview with Fox. He said, during the interview, he said, I don't know why I have to do this. He's annoyed at the perch that he is on right now and the way he's being perceived. He's opened himself up to a level of scrutiny that I don't think that he's going to be able to bear. I don't think so.
Well, his companies are certainly having a hard time.
Well, listen, I don't think we're going to have to pass the hat for Elon Musk. The guy's worth $300 billion. Do the math. If he put his money in tax-free government bonds, he would get $15 billion a year without touching the principal. So these setbacks that people are so concerned about, I wouldn't worry about it. I think it's patriotic what he's doing. I think that he's a disruptor. I think he is looking for fraud, corruption, and waste. And you know what? If we find fraud, corruption, waste, and we end it, then we have more money for hospitals. We have more money for education. We have more money for infrastructure. Is that a bad thing?
I'll tell you what.
And that's a good point. That's where my argument with the left gets a little weird, right? If he's searching for problems if he's searching for wasteful spending that we are spending our taxpayer dollars on, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Like that's not a bad thing at all. That's not a bad thing. So what's the harm in that? You know, granted, there are better ways to go about it. Research Clinton's government purge that he did in the 90s. His government purge was pretty good, and it wasn't as bad as what Elon Musk is doing, like firing people and then after hiring them back. That part of it is kind of wrong, but digging up where the spending is coming from, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's definitely a good thing, but let's keep going. I don't know, maybe they might have a better argument than I do.
I'll tell you what is bad and what is not patriotic is calling Mark Kelly a traitor. He called him a traitor today for having gone and visited Ukraine, which many Republicans and Democrats in Congress and in the Senate have done in the last several years. Mark Kelly is a naval aviator. He flew missions in the Gulf War. He has logged over 5,000 hours flying for the Navy. He then went on to be the pilot for the space shuttle. He serves in Congress. Elon Musk has absolutely no right, who has never served this country, who serves a president who made up a story about bone spurs so he could avoid the draft, has absolutely no right to call Mark Kelly, who is a patriot, who has served this country to the point of risking his life, and calling him a traitor. That is something we should all condemn.
That has nothing to do with the conversation of what Elon Musk is doing with Doge. That has nothing to do with that. What she just brought up has nothing to do with that. That is wrong. He shouldn't have said that because he is a hero. Calling him a traitor is weird. Calling Mark Kelly a traitor is weird. However, though, just because he visited the Ukraine, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Doge. And, you know, this is the thing, like, I don't like about Fox or CNN. It feels like whenever a point, like the guy just made was a good point, is driven, the goalpost is moving. That's gaslighting at its finest, if you think about it.
That kind of language from either side, and it's gotten out of hand. I think that the discourse now...
I've had to do this a lot of times on the show, but like, I guess it's very easy to say either side to every single thing, but
she's
in
pretty.
response to what she said, what do you say about what Elon has to say?
Well, first of all, I would never denigrate somebody who served our country and call them a traitor unless I had material evidence that they were actually a traitor. Exactly. So I think that Elon Musk is not a politician. He's not somebody that is what we would would say, politically astute, but I think he serves a great purpose in uncovering fraud, corruption, and waste, and I think it's a patriotic act on his part.
Look, I spent 5 years at City Hall working on government efficiency projects, and here's my advice for Elon. It's one thing to talk about efficiency, but what people actually care about, as you know, sir, as a local official, they care about efficacy. So if you look on the Doge board, it just shows how much they're cutting from the federal government. How about a board that shows how long passport times are taking? That shows how quickly people in the Veterans Affairs are getting their benefits. That's what people actually care about. And if he does that board and shows that he's making progress on that, that's showing that government is actually working for people. I think everyone here can get behind that.
I disagree with him. I think that is good, but I think they also care about where the money is going. Like, we care about where the money is going. I do want to know where my tax dollars are going. If they're not going to the things that help Americans. If I'm going to put tax money into this, we need to be helping poverty. We need to be helping Social Security get better. We need to be helping the Appalachian people who are poor. We need to be helping. So, again, it felt like that argument was a red herring that he was making again. And shocking, I'm agreeing with the Republican. Yeah, anyways.
Scott?
I think on the entitlement issue, which you played, the president is in charge. He has made it perfectly clear he is not touching Social Security, Medicare, and even Medicaid, other than to say if there is fraud in any program, he'd like to root out the fraud. That's period. He's the president. The buck stops with the president. He's been clear about that since he started running in 2015.
I mean, Republicans are getting ready to cut a lot from Medicare.
Well, you call it cuts. They're calling it could be slowing the growth of the program for rooting out fraud, but that's different.
Here's the reason I have a lot. Yeah, and I have a lot of reason to doubt what you're saying because when
Let me tell you something. There's a huge able-bodied population in this country that should not be on welfare.
Okay, first of all,
Well, that's
welfare.
actually not true.
Hold on a second. Welfare is not the biggest driver of this, actually. But what I'm saying is that Doge has put all this money on the board. They've said, "Oh, this is waste, fraud, and abuse." And when you really look at it, they're just programs that Elon and the president and random 20-something-year-olds don't like. So when you say fraud and abuse, there's not a lot of evidence.
The first word is usually waste, and they consider it to be waste.
Do you think
But they are not actually doing that. When Congress authorizes money for a program, or a program is duly authorized, that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. It's just something you don't like.
Everybody wants to find waste, fraud, and abuse until somebody actually does.
You think people?
This is the problem. This is the problem. They're actually saying, okay, maybe this is waste.
Hold on for a second.
Washington,
That's untrue. It's been done. The Clinton administration was able to put together
30-something years ago.
Right, but the point of it is the way that
never happened, and it definitely happened.
But the way that they went about it
Let me ask you a question.
to study it for 6 months and then to take a longer time to understand which government jobs needed to be rooted out. He fired a bunch of people. He ended with a bunch of stuff. It's been done. It's just the way that you guys are doing it.
I know. And the way that we're doing it is that you don't want us to do it. In 2019, we spent $4.4 trillion as a government. Last year, we spent $6.2 trillion. The government's got more expensive and much larger over the last 5 years. The only question Republicans have is, does it have to be this large and does it have to be this expensive? That's the question, and Elon's finally trying to cut into it, and the Republicans in Congress need to help.
You guys should start it in your own house because your president drove up the deficit as much as anybody ever has, maybe more than anyone.
And why? So what happened at the end of Trump?
That's a fact, man. Van knows his stuff, man. That's a fact. He has drove up the debt more than anyone else has. But it seems, though, like, to be fair to Trump, though, every single year, like, every president seemingly has to drive up the debt more. I wonder why that is, though. I wonder why that is. Y'all comment down below what y'all think is the reason.
So then,
any memory of it?
I do remember. Even before then, though. Even before that. Everybody's got Google. So the reality of it is this. If no one that I know, is against finding waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. However, the way that you go about doing it, you don't play with Americans' lives, you don't play with their jobs, you don't do things haphazardly where you have to fire people. Then
can you name one thing you do differently?
I think
you say you're
now you're gonna make me in charge though.
No, I'm asking.
Okay.
You say you're against waste, fraud, and abuse. What would you consider the government to do that's wasteful today?
Okay, well then what I would do if I was looking for waste, fraud, and abuse is I would start in the Defense Department and at the Pentagon. I would start with the defense industrial complex of America, and I would look there.
I think Elon and you were in agreement on that.
Well, he hasn't. So the question is, when are they going to get around to it?
Yeah.
Because they
operators.
Scott, hold on. One of the other
They are
things,
starting to get
you
offended.
started your comment by saying the president's in charge. He's not going to touch Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. That's where all the money is,
That's
Scott,
true.
which is why
We're fighting over 28%.
No, he said he said he wasn't going to cut entitlements.
No.
They are
I'm
going to
telling
look
you,
for fraud in Medicare.
Bruce,
They are going to look for
I'm telling
fraud
you
in
what
Medicare.
Scott said. Scott said that he wasn't going to touch it. Elon said, correctly, that's where all the money is. So if you guys actually want to produce savings, you are going to have to touch it.
Actually, we started this.
I don't like that
We
language.
started this segment.
At what point
We started this segment
is that
talking
gonna
about the
be
fact
bigger?
that the president's closest aide, the guy who's attached at the hip to him, Elon Musk, called an American hero a traitor today.
Okay, but you said that already.
No, because you haven't
What is
condemned
that?
it.
What does that got to do
Because that's
with
what this segment
What
was
is that-
about,
what
actually,
is
and
that-
you haven't
what is
condemned it.
that
And
got to
instead,
do with it?
because you want to talk about something else instead of condemning what is
I
condemnable.
will say that Bruce did, well, maybe I shouldn't go so far as to say condemn, but you said that you do not condone
like it.
that kind of language.
Bruce basically said chill.
So
I don't like it.
he did say that, but
Let's talk what this is actually doing. I think the people who are paid to ID bodies of people killed in action who can't work right now are not waste, fraud, and abuse. I think that these kind of things that we're seeing, the people who oversee our nuclear stockpile are not waste, fraud, and abuse. These mistakes can't happen. It's too critical to our country.
Veterans.
That's true too. Like constant mistakes on what we need to. But you got to cut him some slack, man. At the same time, though, he's. I'm not. I don't know. I'm siding with Republicans. Might as well call this conservative. Might as well say I'm being a conservative. But a part of me is conservative, though, as well as it's liberal. Like I'm like in the middle. But waste, fraud, and abuse is something that we need to tackle. If it's in Social Security, we need to tackle it in Social Security and Medicare. We need to find that. If it's in the Pentagon and the defense spendings, we need to find it in defense spendings. We need to find it all across the board. I don't think any American would disagree with that. How we go about it definitely is a question. It definitely is a question, and I disagree with some things that Elon Musk is doing, but I agree with other things that he's doing. And this is definitely this is interesting. Like these little things, like to move us forward as Americans. It's a lot of debate on how to go about that, and it's sensitive. It's very, very sensitive. Like it's crazy.
So we promised we would protect.
We will never spend unless some
I kinda like
administration
him.
has the guts to see this through. We
Scott
will
Jennings,
never
I like
ever
it.
spend less. We will never have a smaller
I
government.
take
Everything
your point.
has a constituency
I take your
in
point
Washington.
about finding the spending that you want to cut, but I think there's no question, even Republicans agree, we talked about this last week, this has been done in a haphazard way to the point where the president himself had to hear it from his cabinet secretaries who were asking, what's happening at the VA? Why are you cutting all these people? The transportation secretary said they were trying to cut air traffic controllers.
I hope the cabinet. I hope the cabinet and Elon.
They had to speak up
work
because
well together. The
it
cabinet
wasn't
just
being
got
done
there,
well.
but ultimately, this is not a conversation that can be put off forever. And I feel like this is what Washington does. They try to just push it back as far as they can, and then we'll get the next guy in, and maybe it won't happen. That's how you go from $4.5 trillion to $6.2
But
trillion.
Scott, every
gotta go.
Republican
I agree with that.
saying that it needs to be a scalpel, not a sledgehammer.
Yes, and
it has been a sledgehammer.
Oh, that was a great conversation. That was great. That was great. It was a little bit talkative. Like people were kind of talking over each other a little bit, but definitely like two side of opinions, and everybody got to say their piece. Definitely a great conversation. All right, y'all. Peace.